a keynote speech from Mrs. Nganga. Such an amazing speech. Angela Nganga, Director, Microsoft. And I want to continue the rest of the program. And I want us to begin the program with a question. How many here are studying so that they get jobs? If you're studying to get a job, if at some point you want to get a job, raise your hand. Kuna watu wanasoma tu wapeleke miaka mbele, so I would want to assume. If you're studying to get a job, fantastic, fantastic. How many here have applied for jobs before? You've applied for a job somewhere. You've ever applied for a job? Fantastic. All right. How many here have applied for jobs successfully? You applied and you got the job. You applied and you got the job. Fantastic. Quite a good number. Okay. How many here have applied for jobs unsuccessfully? You applied. Ata regret letter watumi. Please, by the show of hands. 67 jobs. Rejections. Did they send the regret letters? Some. But let me ask, would you prefer the regret letter ama wanyamaze tu? Watume ujue imeisha. You're 2 months waiting uko na kwani hawapigi. Kumbe they've already hired. Okay, so watume. Employers mmesikia? Please reply hizo emails. We regret to inform you. Please send them. And anyway, and what other better way than to talk about the current jobs landscape in Kenya? Okay? And to help us navigate that area and just understand the landscape of the jobs in Kenya, I'd like to invite KEPSA. So KEPSA representatives, tafadhali, please come so that you help us decode this. Let us appreciate KEPSA. This is the Kenya's Private Sector Alliance. Watuambie shida iko wapi.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning once again. My name is Brian Langat. I work with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance as a monitoring, evaluation, and impact manager for the Kenya Youth Employment and Entrepreneurship Advancement Program. Before I get to talk about our areas of intervention around youth employment, and before I also get to speak about the current jobs landscape in Kenya, which is my brief for the day, I'd like to through some statistics about the world populations and how we are progressing. So at the beginning of the century, the world population stood at 1.6 billion. And beginning of the 21st century, the world population stood at 6.1 billion. Demographers project that the world population will grow 2 billion humans by 2030, getting us to around 9 billion from the current 8 billion. By 2100, the projection is that the world population will stand at 11.7 billion people. Why am I bringing up this statistic? I think as we have these discussions about jobs, opportunities, economy, it's also important that we get to understand how we are growing, because there is a very direct correlation between the world population, how the world population is growing, how the government and the private sector responds to that through the social and economic investments. You might have come across the term demographic dividend. Anyone? Okay, so the demographic dividend is it is the economic growth that can be realized through a demographic transition in an economy when the birth rate falls and the working population increases. So this is to say that as we continue to grow our numbers and as we continue to advance our investments, say in the social front, and improve on our reproductive health outcomes, there is a tendency that the birth rate will go down. That is the argument by scientists, that the birth rate will go down, and subsequently, the dependency will reduce. So the working age will increase, and while the working age increases, the working population rather increases, and the birth rate falls, the dependency reduces. And by that, countries and economies can now leverage on that saving due to the reduced burden to increase their economic growth. So I felt that I should bring that to light so that even as we discuss that, we think through on the kind of investments we are making as we continue to grow our populations. So KEPSA is an apex body for the private sector in Kenya, and it brings together local and foreign businesses, federations, chambers of commerce, professional bodies, business membership organizations, corporates, MSMEs, and startups from all sectors of the economy. We have a reach of 2 million businesses, both directly and indirectly. And we are the focal point for the East Africa Business Council, and we also host the International Chamber of Commerce. And through the International Chamber of Commerce, we have a reach of close to 45 million businesses globally. So KEPSA's mandate is simply to coordinate businesses to speak with one voice. And besides facilitating the public-private sector dialogues, we are also engaged in projects. So we run projects for the private sector and the country's socio-economic development through our Youth and Jobs Division and our Climate Change Division. And I'm also happy to see some of our donors like Microsoft here today. Thank you so much. And our partners like Twiva. Yeah. We also have a social arm, that is KEPSA Foundation, that is also engaged in socio-economic development projects around youth and women empowerment, leadership and childcare, climate change and sustainability, governance and community outreach. So what is our approach regarding what is our employment approach? So as KEPSA, we have a holistic youth employment approach that is centered on fostering youth empowerment through strategic partnerships that facilitate linkages between the demand and supply side of the economy. So when I say the demand side, it is the industry side, the employers. For those of us who are looking forward to getting employed or getting into private practice or individual ventures, what KEPSA does is to act as a link between academia and industry. And we focus on 5 domains. One is the digital economy, where we work with other actors to link youth to digital jobs and also encourage digital literacy. The second domain is skills development and technical training, where we provide industry academia linkages and also capacity build private sector entities and by providing technical assistance to them. The third domain is entrepreneurship development, where we do business acceleration, business development services and trainings, We also provide financing through the support of some of our partners and also networking opportunities. The fourth domain is youth labor market intermediation services, where we provide internship opportunities, work and career readiness trainings, and also mentorship and coaching, including the labor market information services. The fifth domain is on collaboration and adaptation, which we like to call thought leadership. We are engaged in a number of research activities on youth employment learning agenda, and we are also members to the private sector advisory council on youth employment. My brief for the day was to speak on the current jobs landscape in Kenya. And Kenya, like many other economies, is a dynamic economy that is shaped by a mix of opportunities and challenges, which reflects our country's status as an emerging economy in sectors like technology, agriculture, and the services sector, which is also coupled with a number of challenges, including the main ones being unemployment, underemployment, skills mismatches, among many others. So I will limit my address to a few areas within our economy, and I'll particularly shed light on their contribution to employment, and I'll not focus so much on what has worked in those sectors, but I'll dwell more on the challenges because I believe those are the things that we should be working towards addressing. The first one is agriculture. And as I move along, I'll be making reference to some statistics, which I hold no absolute monopoly over, depending on your source document and also the timing of your statistic. So I'll just make reference to some statistics which are just averages. So the first sector is the agricultural sector. As you all know, Kenya largely remains to be an agrarian economy. And Kenya's economy mainly, depends on agriculture. Agriculture is the backbone. And it employs about 40 to 50% of the workforce and contributes 30 to 35% of the GDP. Of course, it's dominated by smallholder farmers. And the main investments that bring quite a lot to Kenya's economy include tea, coffee, and horticulture exports. Agriculture is important, as you all know, and we can't discount its importance, only that it continues to face a number of challenges, including low and unstable incomes, because in many ways, agriculture is a chance event. You don't really determine with certainty what you're going to harvest. Sindio? Yeah, and it's also now vulnerable to climate change, droughts, and fluctuations in the market prices. The other sector is the informal sector, also known as Juakali sector, and it employs about a whopping 83% of the labor force. Yeah. So some of the main trades around the informal sector include street vending, small-scale manufacturing, domestic work, motorbikes, which we know as boda boda. Of course, the informal sector has played a big role in ensuring that Kenyans get to engage in some form of economic activities. But as you all know, the informal sector largely remains precarious because, for instance, they do not access social benefits, social security benefits like NHIF, NSSF, pension funds. even private medical cover is quite a challenge even for them to channel their funds to, and is also affected by low wages and absence of formal contracts. The third one is technology and innovation. And when I mention that, of course, we know that Nairobi is now referred to as the Silicon Savannah. Of course, we give a lot of credit to actors like Safaricom and the interventions around fintech like M-Pesa. Kenya is largely ranked high in the fintech ecosystem. And increasingly, we are seeing tech startups and fintech companies, e-commerce platforms, and agri-tech companies creating opportunities for growth. The tech sector is rapidly growing, but it still accounts for a very small proportion of the job market. And as you all know, it requires a high level of skills. We have quite some considerate supply of jobs from the tech sector, but we do not have the perfect matches or skill sets to go with those opportunities. So that's one of the main challenges that the tech sector continues to grapple with. The fourth sector is the services sector, and it is also a significant part of the economy and contributes about 50% of our GDP. And when I mention the services sector, I want you to think of tourism, financial services, telecommunications, and education. Of course, among the sectors that I've mentioned, tourism is very vital. It was largely affected by COVID-19, but it's currently coming back, and it's picking up mainly because increasingly they are also encouraging domestic tourism and local ecotourism. The fifth issue is on youth unemployment. This is the major challenge within the jobs landscape in Kenya. Cumulatively, we have an unemployment rate of about 6 to 7%. But if we narrow down that to youth aged between 18 and 34, the unemployment rate shoots to about 34-35%. And it's quite a worrying statistic. I don't know if we've been able to attain the demographic dividend that I was talking about. Have we? Have we not? Is it a missed opportunity? Or we can catch up on the lost opportunities? I'll leave that to you. So despite most of our youths actually being fairly educated, you know, most of our youths have actually completed at least secondary education and tertiary education. Still, unemployment remains high. And this is because of the skills mismatches, especially in the technical sectors. And the mismatch between the education, what is being churned out of the education system and the demands of the labor market. So we need to encourage discussions and conversations between the industries and the academia. We are seeing a trend in most of the youths now turning to self-employment and the informal sector and entrepreneurship. But as we all know, financial access also remains to be a big hurdle. The other sector is the public sector. Are you aware that the public sector remains to be the biggest employer? Yes. So if you look at the education sector, the health sector, civil service, security, the public sector remains to be the largest employer within the Kenyan economy. However, there's a slow wage growth within the public sector. I'll even make reference to people that are very close to me. My mom, who was a high school teacher, and my dad, who was a civil servant. I think for the close to a little over 30 years of service, their wage never really grew that much. And it's still a problem that the public sector continues to encounter. And especially now that there's a lot of pressure now from the public to reduce government spending. Of course, I'll not speak so much about the government spending priorities, but in the face of that, we can be sure that we'll continue to face that slow growth in the wages within the public sector. However, it's still the most highly sought employer because of the security that comes with being employed within the public sector. Then on manufacturing, this accounts for 15% of the labor market. And the manufacturing sector is particularly important because of it's crucial for economic transformation. Some of the key sectors include food processing, textiles, the building materials and the construction industry. But it continues to face high energy costs, regulatory hurdles, and also competition from imports. The eighth domain is the gig economy, the new kid on the block. You'll hear people throwing words like the gig economy, creative economy, knowledge economy. Yenye tumeambiwa asubuhi liko fusion what? Fusion something. Yeah. So it's another, it's actually quite a very important sector within our economy right now. And it's closer to you than you think. If you walk around today, you'll most likely see someone riding a bike ya Glovo. Sindio? Utapitana na Ubers, Bolt. Iyo yote ni, they've been a very important, especially Uber, Bolt and Glovo. They've been very major players within the growing gig economy. And we see jobs around, informal jobs for people as drivers, couriers, and other service providers. So, but the gig economy, I'm not a techie myself, but I'm a technology enthusiast. But the techies in the house will tell you that the gig economy faces income volatilities. You can't really predict your incomes with certainty, and also a lack of social protection within that sector. So I've covered the main challenges, which include skills mismatches, high unemployment and underemployment. What is underemployment? Underemployment, anyone? Okay, so underemployment is where a person's skills is not well utilized. Like you are too qualified for the job, and we are all victims, or in one way or the other, we've been through such instances of underemployment. So, of course, I will not go without also giving us hope. Despite the challenges that we continue to face, there are quite a number of opportunities that are within our reach. One of the opportunities is on the government initiatives that we have, like the Ajira digital program, which links youths to digital jobs, and many other investments that the government is making through other development partners. We also have opportunities still around the digital transformation. The digital economy largely remains to be formless. There's a space for everyone. Like you can enter into that sector and claim your space, because technology is frequently changing. I mean, things are changing very fast. There's also opportunities around green jobs. Climate change continues to be a concern, and there are a number of interventions that have been crafted around that, creating green jobs. So as I conclude, I'd like to say that, I mean, in whatever you do, whatever you're engaged in, go all in. I saw a quote somewhere, and I thought I should share it with you. But I'll not unpack it. You will interpret it to yourselves that whatever you're meant to do it now. The conditions are always impossible. So before I close, early this year, KEPSA hosted a Future of Work Summit. And there are a few reflections that I picked from the summit that I'd want to share. Some of them have been mentioned by the earlier speakers, but I'll just mention a few points that I picked in brief. One is on training from first principles. As we continue, especially for those people who are in the technology sector, we should not be adaptive to what is being developed, but we should also be part of that creative process. The second one is on normalizing upskilling and reskilling initiatives to just update our skill sets. The third is on skill anticipation. With the various innovations that are coming up, we can readily predict the kinds of skills that will be needed for the future, and we should align ourselves accordingly. The fourth, for corporates and government actors, is also to invest in research and development. It is an expensive thing, but it's worth the while. The fifth one is reimagination and contextualization of AI. Yeah, the AI that we currently have, of course, is built largely on the Western realities. So the challenge to our techies should be now to reimagine AI and to contextualize AI within the African experience. The sixth, for those of you who are looking forward to venturing into the gig economy, it helps to work as a team and to form communities of practice, because that will enable you to access more work. Because with formalization, when you come as an organization of online workers, it's easier for people abroad to trust you with jobs than when they're dealing with an individual online worker. The seventh is for all of us industry players to continue crafting bespoke curriculums for upskilling and reskilling our professionals. For those very many or few remarks, I wish to thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brian Langat. We really appreciate your time. One more time, a huge round of applause for Mr. Brian Langat. Thank you very much for that. That was really powerful. He touched on the gig economy. They say in gig economy is where you can make 200,000. Alafu unakaa miezi tatu hujaona hata simu. Wangapi wamepitia hiyo? Gig economy. How many have tried gig economy? You have? Fantastic. Thank you very much. All right. So because of time, I want us to move really fast. We are really trying to salvage on time. And I want to bring the next speaker who will talk about the importance of cybersecurity and the security in the digital space. And well, I don't know whether you're ready, but he's a seasoned cybersecurity engineer with over 10 years of expertise in cyber resilience, risk management, vulnerability assessments, and system penetration testing. Passionate about leveraging technology for social solutions, he has presented at over 140 cybersecurity conferences, lectured at universities, and contributed to key publications in the field. He's also the founder of Africa Hackon, a cybersecurity collective nurturing talent and shaping professionals across the globe. With a strong entrepreneurial spirit, he's dedicated to advancing cybersecurity practices and driving impactful solutions in the digital space. And I also must add that he is a Daystar alumni. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Bright.
Good afternoon. So that profile is pretty old, eh? This is 335 presentation now. So that 140 is a very old profile. I don't know where you got that from, but Fraser, we clearly need to update that. Yeah, I like timing myself, but do let me know when my time is up. So it's good to be on this side. Back in the day, I think Joy can tell you, I used to be jumping on those stages, the stage up there. That's what we used to do our, what's that event called again? It's for freshers and everything. I forgot. I used to be part of Dulos. So we used to jump on the stages. So I used to be a martial artist and everything. And it's nice to be back here. I'm a Daystar alumni. So my name is Bright Gameli Maudo. I left Daystar 2011. Did the computer science, applied computer science. It's been an interesting journey, and it's nice to see the differences of things that are happening right now. I work in a company called Crystal Intelligence. We do blockchain intelligence. Basically, we track down cryptocurrency scammers. We try to hack back, because my everyday life is hacking. I run a company called CyberGuard Africa with my friend here, Fraser. He's the CTO. And we have seen different career paths when it comes to cybersecurity. Every day we try to hire people. I think our DMs, at least every day we get at least 20 to 30 messages, DMs of, I want to be a cybersecurity engineer. And we keep on asking, what exactly is it that you want to be in cybersecurity? Because we don't even see effort. Some of them come off rude. When I say rude in the sense of they're like, oh, you know what? Teach me how to hack. And then we're like, what do you mean teach me how to hack? And there's a hacking part of things. We're like, okay, it can't work that way. It's a different world we live in right now, where we want to see effort from somebody before we even get to even give them the chance. We're about 15, and now 15, we have a mentorship program of 10. We don't take more than 10 people for every 2 months, 2 to 3 months for the mentorship program. And for that to happen, you need to come ready. You need to come showing your skills. You need to show me that you have done some research in the cybersecurity space before you come. Otherwise, if you come thinking we're going to teach you from scratch, it's not going to happen. Are we together? The reason is because you're in a digital space or digital age where everything is available. When back in the day, we have to be sleeping down there with mosquitoes. Down there, you know, the care center down here, right? That used to be my office. When I was the Daystar chair. That was the office we had. That's where we learned how to be able to break computers. Yeah, I hacked Daystar 3 times. Not school fees. I didn't want to change. I don't know not to pay school fees. I hacked because I created new students who never existed to balance the grades. But I reported myself. And later I was trying to see how to create, I was trying to do a research on how malware is actually balanced through the school's network, and setting up the Wi-Fi in the computer lab when it was newly built. It was a curiosity, and that's what drove me to where I am right now. When I left Daystar, I went to work at a company called Cellulant. I worked for 1 year. Then later I went to South Korea, where I did my master's and PhD. It was the most intense thing you never do. 4 years, where you have to learn in ways you've never learned before. Does that make sense? Masters you're doing, it's supposed to do 24 credits, I did 42. So I got extra credits to be able to do my PhD. I was young, I was 26. So I'm like, why do I need to do PhD? People do PhD at what age? 60. My professor is like, no. When I came back home to Kenya, my dad sent me back. So I went on the next flight back to Korea after like a week. PhD required you to do 36 credits. Mine was reduced to 30, but I did all 30 credits in 1.5 years, so 10, 10, 10. You cannot graduate a master's in South Korea if you don't repeat 3 exams you've passed before in one sitting. You did not fail. You have to repeat what you've passed again in one sitting to be sure that you actually learned something. PhD is 5. So that the 5 paper exam, it actually takes you approximately about 6 hours, 5-6 hours, writing. That's how long it takes for you. If you fail one paper, you start all over again. What I'm talking about is cultural differences, and the way people study is very different. The way those people group together to be able to solve problems that we face every day is very different. And that's where you are right now. If you think you graduate from Daystar being able to work alone, you are lying to yourself. You will not succeed. If you think you will not be able to use, right now you guys are blessed with ChatGPT, you have AI tools to be able to automatically analyze an entire PDF and give a summary in a few minutes. You have prompt engineering. You talk about the gig economy. People are doing work at home and they don't necessarily have to be in an office. There's a guy we wanted to hire. Fraser will tell you, we're just talking to him right now. If you want to hire him for cybersecurity work, he'll tell you, nah, I don't want unemployment. You can't hire him because he moves too fast. So in an office where he has to sit down and tell him, did you do this assessment? How about this one? He can't face it. So he likes to do small gigs, and he actually makes quite a lot of money out of it. I'm not saying that you have to go that route, but everybody's different. The entrepreneurship part of things, is it Brian, right? Yeah, so what Brian talked about, the entrepreneurship part of things, you have to develop it. You have to develop it. In the cybersecurity space, what we see right now is that apart from AI and all of those beautiful things that are happening, we are also living in danger. I dare any of you to give me a Gmail account and I'll tell you everything about you, who you are, where you come from, the last place you've been. For the older ones, all the Airbnbs you've been to, I can tell you. You want to try? Fraser, laptop. You have the keys. Fraser. Here. I like such dares because we can force an email from you to her to have your picture to come from you as the person, and it's very easy to do that. It's easy to be able to manipulate anything. Joy, I can take your face right now and actually put it as a place and tell somebody that you're the one who sent a particular video. And it will come legit. It will be your voice. It will be your face. It will be your reactions. Do you know why? Because we can gather any information about you online in a few minutes. Talking about hacking, look, oh, it's not that difficult, by the way. You guys are looking at it like, no, it's not. We've done I don't think there's any government portal in Kenya that we've never hacked before, or we cannot hack. Everything is easy. Name them. Yeah, easy, done. I like how Kiari is always the first one. E-Citizen, easiest. Help. Easiest, did that 5 years ago. But that was 7 years ago. Any other? Pardon? They come to me. Any other? Pardon? What? Oh, I did. That's another easy one. Microsoft Africa. Hey! Microsoft is not a Kenyan company. But hey, Microsoft is hard. But you know what I like about Microsoft is the fact that they are fast moving with the AI part of things to be able to do what they call threat intelligence. So in the cybersecurity space, we have different kind of career path which we try to take. There's an offensive and a defensive part of things. You cannot be a defensive security engineer if you don't do the offensive security part of things. So the offensive, we look at ways of being able to penetrate into the systems, mobile application, web applications. We try to see how we can be able to manipulate a system to give us information that it's not supposed to. Typical example, you have a healthcare application, you have to put your username and password. When you put your username and password, we find vulnerabilities to say that if my username and password is bright and my ID is this and that, how can I manipulate the system to fetch every other person's details for me? It's quite easy. It's a common mistakes. That is why there's a cybersecurity part of this, and there's software developers who we have to keep on working together and telling them, you need to change APIs, you need to change connections like this. You need to add a few encryption and coding algorithms to be able to do that. And then, if we don't do it the right way, my good friend here will slap you with a letter. She's coming to speak later, right? Exactly, right after me, I think, about the legal part of things. So there's also legal and compliance. In fact, she does a lot of that, so you will talk about it. When it comes to compliance and policies in organizations, people don't know the kind of data they're holding. If we're legally allowed to be able to release the kind of information that we see out there, I don't think Kenya will be surviving. But we do it as an ethical thing. That's what we call ethical hackers. Are we together? And it's a job. It's a full-time job. Ethical hacking. We find vulnerabilities in systems. We tell people how to be able to secure them. And then we try to find out how can we help you to secure those systems, that the bad guys don't use that against you. How would you feel if you wake up today and your entire bank account has been drained? How would you feel? All the money you've worked for. How would you feel if your boss got an email, it looked like it came from you, and the message was, I have resigned? And in a court of law, it's actually very true. Are we together? There will always be new vulnerabilities. That means there will always be problems in security. There will always be engineers who are supposed to fix them. That's why we keep on encouraging people to look at that part of work as well. Are we together? Oh, but they ask, this is happening. Can I get the email? Who's volunteering?
Volunteers? Oh, there's one there. Are you sure? Wamesema BNB pia.
Anyway, so as that happens, so the reason why I'm trying to talk about this is to show you the importance of data. Data is available. As you sit here, majority of the data that has been collected about you is just because even in a Wi-Fi, the same Wi-Fi you're on every day, you're lucky you now have Wi-Fi all over the place. Back in the day, I used to sell the Daystar Wi-Fi off campus. This was good money. Come on, I was being innovative. And I used to download movies to sell. I had a private network. Where's the volunteer? Oh, she's writing. But oh, now I can say it because now I can't be expelled. Yeah, so I was the one who controlled the Daystar original Wi-Fi. Then we took it to Patients Hostel and what's the other one called? The one after? Pardon? Imani. I used to say Imani 9. That's where I used to stay. Then now I created repeaters which will constantly sell the data. I took the data out of campus and I was selling. Then there was no internet at a point, so we hacked Orange network to be able to actually sell. That was a backup. You need to keep your customers happy. Abi. 30. Oh, sorry. Abby, where's Abby? So Abby Becky, 30. Okay, all right. That's fine, thank you. So yeah, that's basically we're fine. So the digital space will forever be vulnerable. And I wanted to show you this tool that I'm running right now is going into about almost 30 to 300 endpoints of social media profiles, anything that is out there to find information about you. I don't think there might be too much about you, but let's still find out. Project.
Project for us. It's about to go down.
Anyway, she definitely likes to plait her hair. No, I'll show you. Don't worry. Still searching. So what I'm trying to talk about is that you are going to be vulnerable. Everybody can be hacked. Nobody is ever that secure. So you basically have to start looking into ways of learning the offensive part of things and then becoming defensive. I know people who have decided to go the other way, and let me tell you something. If the Lord does not catch up with you, the universe will. Does that make sense? You will be caught someday. I don't think God wants us to start using that skill set for bad things. We know guys we've trained and they have been arrested right in Kenya, where you see almost 30 DCI cops in their house. It's not funny, right? And the thing is, the opportunities are there for you to be able to do a lot of work when it comes to cybersecurity. Where opportunities in terms of not just in Kenya, and please stop thinking of Kenya alone. Kenya is a very small country. The need for cybersecurity engineers out there is crazy. It's amazing. The company that I work for is in Ukraine. Crystal Intelligence is in Ukraine, with a headquarters in the Netherlands, and then incorporated now also in Dubai and UK. But the Ukrainians, we all remote. We don't. I'm physically here. My job is to send emails and and be able to actually respond to certain things and do training and the likes. So you basically can work from anywhere. You are lucky to have the remote jobs to be able to actually do that. The only way you can actually bring yourself out when it comes to cybersecurity in terms of capabilities and everything is to keep on practicing. Fraser will tell you, practice, practice, practice. There's so many free resources. Fraser leads something called Hack the Box Kenya. So you can talk to him about this. If you get to actually practice such things and show on your CV, that's the only way somebody will get to notice you. And through platforms like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is free. You have available resources to be able to do that. I took LinkedIn as a way to be able to advertise myself. Is how I get some speaking gigs. How much do you think people pay for speaking events? Guess? Hour. Pardon? You said something? No, so okay, just say.
Per hour.
Per hour, yes.
20,000.
Hey. Hey. That 20K is an insult. Funny enough, when I started speaking, I was charging 20K for 3 hours. Then there's a company they came from South Africa and they said, oh, can you help us to, so I looked at the presentation and I said, you guys are salespeople. You do not demonstrate exactly how your solution works. If you don't mind, can you let me present the first part and then you guys can talk about your software, how it solves the problem, which we have. But I'll demonstrate how vulnerable people are. So the guy asked me how much. I said, I didn't give a number. In my head, it was 25,000 Kenya shillings. So it's like, we would like to invite you to South Africa to speak. We'll pay for your flight, everything, business class. I'm like, wait, if business class, you invite me for a business class ticket, why am I charging 25,000 Kenya shillings? So I didn't say the word, I didn't say the number. When I went to do that presentation, I was picked up from the airport in it was a mini limousine. It was a very nice, you know how those feeling, but then you don't get that feeling every day. Picked up, dropped at the hotel. They're like, everything you eat is on the house. Anything you want to drink is on the house. Anything you want, you just name it. If there's a phone number, here's a spare phone we're giving you. Make any call to us in case you need anything. In case you want to travel to go somewhere, you want to go to another town, let us know. This is 2 days before the presentation. I finished the presentation, I was given 150,000 Kenya shillings. You're very far. Anyway, but the thing is, and I thank you for saying that, is because sometimes we also don't understand the value we have. Are we together? We don't understand. We undervalue our positions of things that we know, and we need to start bringing that out. One of the youngest mentees or hackers in our team, the fastest actually, is 19 years old. In CyberGuard, ask Fraser. He's faster than both of us combined. He's 19. He's bored in school. He's been told to name parts of a computer. He just can't. I lecture 5 cybersecurity courses at Strathmore Master's class. And when you see the kind of things people are doing and compare to him, he comes to lecture that class. He's 19. So where are we going? Are you seeing where the mindset is going? The entire team we have, the oldest, apart from me being old, which you don't have to mention, average age in a team is 21, 22. Majority of you here are in that age bracket. Are we together? And all of these guys are cybersecurity engineers. None of them gets paid anything less than, for any job they do, they get an approximately 50 to 80K per job, because we are splitting a big amount. I mean, a small amount for a large number of people. And imagine you do 3 or 4 of those, they do the job in less than 3 days. Not 3 full days. So how much do you think that would be? But because I know their value, and sometimes that happens, you go for some employment, people don't know your value. I remember when I applied to Microsoft, I still have that picture till today. Man, I showed up at that office, dressed up. I came and said, here, I'm here for a job. They're like, who are you? I'm like, here's my CV. Mistake number 1, I did not see a job offer. I did not apply. I came just with a paper saying I'm looking for a job. I was kicked out of the building. So nice and easy. That was back in the day where I thought I could walk into Microsoft office, back when it was somewhere in Upper Hill, where I thought I could get a job. These days, it doesn't work that way. These days, you get online, You go to LinkedIn, you basically open your tab, say you're looking for employment. And the algorithm automatically searches and gives you that job. You are getting hunted. But that can only happen if you what? Demonstrate who you are. Oh, by the information about you, you don't have a lot. It's just a picture about you that you registered on EDX some time back. Yeah. But this is your picture right there.
Eh.
I will not open your Google Maps because that will start showing me where you have been. But, yeah. Can we get any of that email? Anyone here?
Mtu ako na content.
Yeah. I want a slightly older email. Anyway, so that's basically the... Oh, thank you. Let me just run that quickly as I wrap up.
Uko na content? Hey.
Is it Moga or Moya? Mogaya. Do you know where all this information is being picked from? Can anybody guess? Pardon? Your phones. I don't have my other laptop here. I would have loved to do the email thing, but your phones contain a lot of information to be able to spill information about you, and that's how we pick up information. Even if you're on airplane mode, it doesn't really matter. Because the calibrator of your phone, good Christian, you have been breached on Swivel, Wattpad, and your Bible app and Strava a few years ago. Oh, wow. Yes. Have an account on Medium. Your profile picture has a helmet, right? Have a Skype account called Muita Mogaya. You took a picture on your staircase at home. Your gravatar looks very innocent, and clearly you're a biker, or you like bikes. No, all the information is here. If you go to your Strava account, it will tell you how far you've been jogging for the past few years, and how fast, not just how far, how fast you've been jogging, and the part of things you've been doing. So that's basically the world of cybersecurity. It's a very wide open space. You can be an offensive security engineer. You can be a defensive security engineer. You can get into policy and governance, which my good friend will talk to you about later. You can get into policy writing. You can go even to be a public speaker. I know a guy whose job is to actually introduce conversations. So when I went to do a presentations, the guy, he was earning $320,000. He lives in San Francisco, so obviously expensive. He travels. Statistics are this. This is how much hacking has been going on. So you know what? Be safe. Now I'll give Dr. Bright to speak about everything. Then I'm me up there to speak for 1 hour, 2 hours, doing live hacking demos, and he gets to be paid $320,000 a year. Do the math. How many zeros are those in Kenya shillings? So anyway, that's just about it. Maybe I can take 1 or 2 questions. I don't like doing presentations when I just finish and walk off. I feel I don't do justice.
One of the questions was whether someone anaweza kupia email mtu wake. Yes, there's a question there.
So, hello, Dr. Bright.
Hi.
So, my question is, I'm an AI engineer, and I collect so much data to train my models.
Yes.
On one of the startups I'm running. It's a sign language translation company.
Awesome.
So, we deal with sensitive data.
Yes.
So, what are the ways you have noticed that AI companies are in risk of being hacked, and what are some of those things that I should be wary of so that I can start putting those steps as early as now?
Okay. Thank you so much for that. So, as the next question, maybe I can answer both of them together. Any other?
There's one.
Hello, my name is Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia.
And you are a hacker with your company. So does it help for setting this 2-step verification, for hiding information? Because I know there are bad people who want your information, maybe if you mean something in the society. So if you do, how do you protect your information? What are the steps to take?
Bare minimum. Steps.
Yeah, there are that should I know hacking to
Okay.
hide my information? Yeah, so for just
Re-
a common mwananchi to know.
Thank you so much for that. So I'll start from her, then I'll take it back to you. So very, very good question. Before we came here, we actually had to pass a house at, what's it called, Green Park, because of a child who was being exploited online. We had to, that was an incident response. I told my friend, we cannot wait for this one. We have to talk to the kid and advise her to do what she needs to do. Bare minimum, your email serves as a basis of every security that you have. Everything is connected to your email, your phone number. So those two are the primary places to protect. Are we together? You have two-step verification is available for every social media platform. Activate them. However, first of all, protect your email, two-step verification, and it has what they call an authenticator, which gets to your phone. In that case, if I steal your password, because we have a breach database, if I put daystar.ac.ke right now, I can find every leaked database that ever existed. Right now. It takes 10 seconds to do that. If you put any company, so there's a possibility your password might be leaking out there that somebody can use against you. So, two-step verification, download the backup code, get the authenticator to be able to actually work. Then go to all the social media platform and make sure you enable those two-step verification for each and every social media platform. If you feel you have been compromised, you've been hacked or whatever, you think you click on a link, because usually I'll send you a link for you to click for me to actually hack you. Clear your browser cache and cookies, change your password with another browser. Should I repeat that? Clear your browser cache and cookies, and change your password with a different browser. If you do those bare basic things, you basically stand a chance of not being easily hacked. Are we together? And use password managers. Microsoft has a free password manager. I use it every day. So you don't keep all your passwords in your head, because I know the same password you use today is the same one you use 5 places. Am I lying? So somebody compromises one, they basically can try to find out where you have used the same password over and over again and be able to use that. Okay. Data. You have to collect data to be able to train your AI models to be able to do what it's supposed to do for sign language and everything. So where you keep your data is the first thing. Where you keep it, how you keep it, and who has access to those data. Because if you're collecting data about people in terms of certain details about them, let's call it private, PII, private identifiable information, right? Those information, the way you store that data has to be of the highest confidentiality as possible. So again, I'm not marketing Microsoft and everything, but Microsoft Azure, they have the kind of buckets that you have, they have some security mechanisms you have to put in place, which come out of the box. But again, you have to make sure that you are able to store them properly. If it's on your local disk, you basically have to make sure nobody gets access to that machine. But I'll tell you, these days, what are you doing storing data on your laptops when you have cloud? Ransomware actors are there. When they send you a file and the ransomware hits you, there's no way to recover. There's a 90% chance you'll not be able to recover. So my take, put that data on the cloud, be able to have a redundancy as a backup, being able to make sure that you have very minimal access to that data, and see how you're able to even encrypt that data or encode it in a way that if somebody steals your access codes or whatever it is, they are not able to manipulate what you have. Cool? Thanks.
How do you protect yourself against some advanced social engineering techniques? Because nowadays it's more like in the hacking space, it's more social engineering.
Yeah. Social engineering is hacking the human brain. It's very able to lure you to be able to click on something. The way I found information about him right now, about Innocent, I need to find those information to be able to use against him and force him to actually believe an email came from whichever app that is. So I have to get the right information to send to him, right? And social engineering, there's almost no 100% way to be able to protect yourself. So there's some that will go through, others you have to be very careful to see the messaging, who it came from, what is they talking about, and then if it looks like a duck, smells like a duck, it definitely is a duck. If it looks fishy, you look at it and you're like, no, there's no way I could have won X amount of money. I mean, surely. There's no way somebody could have told me that the very easy one is password resets and everything. and they make it look very believable. There are many mistakes they make. The mistakes could be different, slightly emailed. There'll be some red flags of grammatical errors. But with ChatGPT these days, they almost make no mistakes, right? For the smart hackers, that is. So social engineering, very difficult to protect. There are tools to be able to actually protect you against that and everything. But again, they're not foolproof because we always find a way against them. That's what we do. We are actually an assault team. We assault those systems to see how can we bypass such systems every day. So, no 100%, but you have to be very careful about the information that you get. Most importantly, the information that you share around on the internet. Thank you very much for your time, and it's good to be back here again.
Fantastic. Why don't we appreciate Dr. Bright? Thank you very much. Asante sana. Thank you very much, Dr. Bright, for that. At least we know you don't have to post everything. And maybe unaweza tuhakia DCI kidogo tu. Just a request, you know. Anyway, because of time, I want us to move really fast. And I would like to introduce the next speaker. We'll talk about digital innovation, startups, and entrepreneurship, and also the legal framework that we were talking about. And she's a dynamic enabler in the legal tech and startup ecosystem with expertise in providing tailored legal services for startups. She supports entrepreneurs through innovative legal solutions and strategic guidance. She plays a key role in Cecil and Associates LLP and is a driving force behind the Anza Village community, where she fosters collaboration and growth for early stage ventures. A commitment to empowering startups through accessible legal support makes her a pivotal figure in the evolving landscape of legal tech and entrepreneurship. Ladies and gentlemen, help me invite on stage Wangeshi Wahome. Let us appreciate her.
Thank you. Wow, that's great. Especially after coming from this workshop. Right, that's a very interesting one. And a lot of fear from this side. Some were very much afraid of being hacked. But I hope that you can see on the other side how you prevent yourself from that. Just a bit of background. Why I love such an environment is because I'm a product of this. A couple of years ago, I'm an alumni of the University of Nairobi, and no Daystar, like a couple of us. And we did have a career fair, and my interest in tech was big. Of course, I love law, but I always wondered, how do you merge law and tech? Any lawyers in the room? I know I can see a lot of cybersecurity, AI, tech. Any lawyers in the room? None. Unfortunate. I'm hoping that next time we have them more in the room. But I'm a product of such a room. And in that room, a couple of people who attended was somebody from Safaricom. And that was more than 10 years ago. And I got excited, got an internship when I was in my third year. Did my internship for 3 months and continued on. I got fully adopted in. Fully employed, went on to work there for 2 more years, and then I stepped out to practice in the space. The goal was, when I left employment, was we had a deal with my line manager then. I would do 2 years in the private sector and come back. Now, why my background in Safaricom is important is because it taught me a major thing about entrepreneurship, okay? And of course, about the digital space. A little bit more about me is, beyond the fact that I am, of course, running an organization called Anza Village, is I'm a farmer by profession. So when the speaker was talking about, I think the first speaker, is it Brian? Yeah, he was talking about, from CAPSA, the spaces, the sectors in which employment came in, and he mentioned agriculture. And I don't know how many people do side jobs in this space, but one of my major side jobs that I love is agriculture, which is also a space that a lot of the startups that we support come from. But a bit of intro. Anza Village is a startup ecosystem enabler. We have over 1,000 founders across Africa, and we are mainly in Kenya. Anyone in this room who've heard of Anza Village? Okay, again, a new crowd that I'm hoping to pull in. And majority of the people we support are students. It's student innovation, and we've worked with different universities. We've worked with Riera, we've worked with Daystar, We've worked with Kabarak, the University of Nairobi, where I hail from. We are currently working across supporting 14 entrepreneurship universities with matters, innovation, and entrepreneurship. So today, of course, it's a career fair, yeah? And while we were listening to all these sectors, the sector that quite impressed me was on the youth unemployment, which I think the number that I got was at least the age of between 18 to 34, which majority of the students here fall under, is you're talking about 35% unemployment rate. And maybe it could go high, because I can imagine how much of it is undocumented. We have a high number of Gen Zs. But what we are unfortunate of is that we have a ballooning high number of youth, and yet the job sector is not growing. It's the same thing with, we were talking about the salary is not growing. Even the job sector is not growing. Yet, we want to compete at global level. What is the one thing that ties us together as a global village? It's innovation, it's digital skills, it's ICT, it's all these things. And that's where innovation comes from. And that's why we need to be able to see, and that's what Anza Village does. I wanted to touch a bit on what Bright was mentioning, just touching a little bit on data. I started legal tech a while back, and we did a session on data privacy, and it was one of the first that was done in this country when we were looking at data privacy as a thing. And why that was important is when you look at law, it's very traditional. People go to court, right? You have lawyers who go to court, lawyers who represent you on land matters and all that, and I wanted to make my career different. Stemming from my past in Safaricom. And so we did data, we trained ICT, we trained people who handle data on matters, compliance with the law. And one of that is, who is a data user? What are the rights of a data user? What are your rights as an organization? How do you secure that? Do you understand the laws and the mechanisms of that? We've gone further to do policy around it, right? And we were the first law firm to launch a data complaint with the Office of the Data Commissioner. And that was against Aga Khan. And it was an infringement of someone's data from, you go to the hospital, you leave your details and all that, and then you have people calling you, more or less harassing you. And so she came to us, and it's one of those clinic officers who tells you, looking pretty, I saw you, can we, continue all that? Where did you get your information from? No, you came to followed up that, and then we took it up, and Aga Khan was held accountable for that. So it's important that you understand that. So I've handled it from the litigation point of view to creating the policies, because we've worked with the Office of the Data Commissioner and gone further on matters beyond. But that wasn't what the conversation today was supposed to be about. It was on digital entrepreneurship and innovation. So I want to just mention that we have a growing economy, and the numbers that are given to us by KEPSA, I don't want to rehash, but I want to give a different number. Last year, Kenya did the best in Africa on startup innovation. As I mentioned, our community has over 1,000 founders. And last year alone, I think the investment for the startup ecosystem was $896 million. Take that number. We were not the highest GDP earners. Barely any of that amount hit the Kenyan banks, of course, because a lot of our investments are coming from external, and so startups tend to bank outside. But while that was the case, the highest revenue earner was diaspora remittance. A couple of years ago, it was tourism. Previously, we had agriculture, and in future, we expect innovation and startups to also take that. Now, we are competing with innovation and startups from the Silicon Valley. We are competing with startups and innovations from Nigeria. We are competing with those from Israel, from Estonia, among others. But you know why it matters that you actually compete in a better way? What differentiates Africans from the rest of the world is how much or how big the young population is, and how low and untapped the employment space is. And if you're not innovating, then you're consuming, right? I'll give a good example. We've all used Uber. Who's used Uber? Or rather, who hasn't used Uber ever? We all have, okay? Who has used normal taxis? all right, without hailing on Uber. Anyone has used normal taxis before? All right. So if you had a choice between using an Uber, hailing an Uber, or going to negotiate with a taxi, which one do you go for? Uber. Why? Because it's easier, better, faster, and more guaranteed. Yet Uber was never innovated in Kenya or Africa. Somebody else innovated, and the value they're getting from Africa is massive. We are talking the same with Glovo. We are talking about, even I use Microsoft as an example, Facebook, Instagram, and all that. AI, a lot of it is we are consumers. Look at the clothes that you're wearing. Who manufactured them? A Kenyan? An African? It's probably from China, from Turkey, from somewhere else, but our own. So we are the world's largest consumers and the least builders, innovators. So innovation is not just in the digital space, but the difference with the innovation space, with the innovation in the digital space is how fast it moves. That it moves like a virus. Uber starts somewhere in San Francisco, and in a short window of time, you're able to use it here. Who is investing in Chums? Anyone on Chums? Okay, I can see a hand there. Another hand. Okay, Chums is one of the startups on our portfolio. And so, and I was mentioning it a while back in the room. And so Chums has made it so easy that you can invest and buy an MMF without having to go through the complicated nature. And you can save with goals with friends and all that. That's a startup that, by the way, started last year. Of course, they had conceptualized it. They went through a sandbox in the last 12 months. They've gotten the regulations under the CMA, and they're moving so fast. And they're offering micro MMF, micro support. And that is just one of the many examples of people who are able to penetrate and get into the space and support corporates like what Britam is doing, what another Nabo Capital and the likes are doing. That is the power of a startup. Now, you know where Chums is moving into? I mentioned they launched in Kenya last year. In the next 12 months, they're launching in Rwanda, in Uganda, in Zambia. You can see the value. So not only are you able to invest, but such a startup is able to earn and then bring back that investment. The idea is, let's stop relying so much. And I won't say that employment is a bad thing, but also let's look at other opportunities that are existing. Of course, the challenges, investment is a challenge, resources is a challenge. Now, what differentiates me from some of the people that we're building is I spent 2 years in Safaricom, which mattered because I understood systems, processes, I understood running teams because I was in a team, okay? And so taking that opportunity, even if it's an internship, it matters. And one of the things I tell even for those who are building around startups and all that, take an opportunity. Learn from a company that's doing something. Learn from someone else's mistake, if I may say so. It reduces your cost of mistakes and all that. In addition to that is you can also go in and learn about entrepreneurship. At ANZA, we have a startup school called ANZA Grow Academy. The academy is a 12-week program. And so for those who are ready, straight on, ready to build, they go through the program, they are matched with a mentor. This mentor is building or supporting startups, and within 12 weeks, we help them launch. I'm not saying come to ANZA, but the opportunity is out there. But of course, ANZA should be your first, right? Who else is in the space? We have the Founders Factory, now renamed as 54 Collective. Anyone who's heard of them? Okay, so if you're getting into that space, they exist. We have the likes of Jasiri and others. Take part in the hackathons. I had hackathons here. Has anyone participated in hackathons? No one. Any hackathon participants I can see behind? John is a good product of some of the mentorship that we've done through some things that we've done. But why hackathons are important is it teaches you some key skills. Whether you're going to go into the innovation or entrepreneurship pathway or even in employment, you're going to get employed and you're going to be required to build, innovate, and go on. So take part of this. And when I mean entrepreneurship, I also mean entrepreneurship. We used to have some challenges back at my first employment, occasional. And the result of that has been things like we have the Spark Fund. I think the Spark Fund was sort of like, it came from a challenge that we did from the innovation department, and so many others. Amazon, I'll use Amazon because we've partnered with them. The AWS cloud is a product of internal challenge, okay? Where an employee said, hey, I have an idea. Can we go crowd? I know other companies, maybe Microsoft, I'm not too familiar, maybe they will tell me, but I've also partnered with Google, and I know they have a 80-20 mechanism where internally employees are tasked to innovate. And then the company can continue to add. So what I'm saying is, entrepreneurship doesn't stop at you need your own money. You can also innovate inside your organization. So our role in this space is to remind you that the world is moving in the innovation and entrepreneurship space. The support is there. We have over 120 VCs that get into this space. We have over 200 venture builders and accelerator hubs that exist in Kenya alone. Africa is bigger. But the goal is whatever it is that you're building has to be global focused. Don't just build for Kenya. You have to think, how can I get, the same way Uber was able to move from San Francisco to Kenya, how can you build whatever it is that you're building to support? I just want to reiterate again why Anza Village exists. It's just like you would belong in your village. I'm sure in your village back, whenever you have challenges, issues and all that, you have people who support you left, right and center, right? Who's been in a Harambe, medical Harambe, school Harambe and the likes? I'm sure you all have, right? Some energy in the room. I know it's lunchtime. Anyone who's participated in that? I can see some heads shaking. And so that's what we do within our community. We rally together, we support you, we support student innovation, we support even innovation coming from people who in their 40s and 50s. And we support them through giving them resources, mentorship, and funding, okay? And we train as well. We are running something that I would like you to go in and check called Afri Innovation Festival. It's going to be next year in Uhuru Gardens. That is supposed to celebrate the innovations that are coming from Africa, both from the STEM as well as the creative economy. So we are there to support you, we are there to guide you, and we are there to help you kickstart your entrepreneurship or innovation journey, whether you want to do it within an institution or external. I don't know whether there's any question before I step out. Maybe none. In case you do, I'll be at the back. But if you're interested in the legal pathway, because I've seen that there are no law students here, I would have given a little bit more pathway into that. Happy to support in moving to legal tech, which is obviously not an area that we've done. And by the way, around the legal tech, and this is something sometimes I forget to do. During the IEBC petition 2027, the second petition, yeah, we were struggling to get lawyers who understood tech. So the first petition flopped. Of course, we couldn't open servers and all that. And so they reached out to me and said, hey, can you come in and help us decipher some of these things? And we were the people behind the senior counsels in the second petition, enough to convince the judges in the world that the numbers and the ICTs were making sense. So at least I saw on a national level, my merger of law and tech coming together. And the second time it came was when we went to court, and I was one of the people behind it to stop the Huduma number because of data. So I've done court, I'm doing tech, I'm doing entrepreneurship, and we keep moving, and that is to challenge you all that your career can take many pathways, okay? But you also have to innovate around the kind of pathways that we go. Keep growing with it, whether it's AI today or tomorrow it could be something else.
Thank you very much. Let us appreciate her. Thank you very much, Wange. We really appreciate. Well, we are about to have lunch, okay? And lunch will be served here at the back. And lunch will be served as we do the panel discussion. So we are going to have the last speech, then we're going to serve lunch as we have the panel discussion. See that in order? So kindly, let's not leave. Lunch will be served from here. Yes. She mentioned something about Uber. Na watu wa Daystar najua Uber services. Unajua Uber services? Daystar Uber services. Who has experienced Daystar Uber services? Na vile jioni pale usiku mnakwanga nawajua. Anyway, so right about now, allow me to bring the next amazing speaker for today as we wait for lunch. So please let us not leave. Let's be attentive as we come to the close of the main speeches. So ladies and gentlemen, a seasoned entrepreneur with over 10 years of experience in marketing, media, and communication across diverse industries, including animation in Africa, ranked 37th among Africa's top 100 influential leaders in 2023. She's a strategic leader. She's the Chief Operating Officer and co-founder of Twiva, where her strategic leadership drives operational excellence. With a strong background in media production and campaign management, she's committed to continuous growth, currently pursuing a master's in marketing management, and a visionary leadership and dedication have left a lasting impact on the startup ecosystem, solidifying her as a driving force in African innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, make some beautiful noise and a round of applause for Joy Mwangi.
Good afternoon. You know, the toughest speech is the one who's closer to the plate, right? It's almost lunchtime. Oh, it is lunchtime. So Joy Mwangi is my name. And let me tell you, I think it was beautiful that you said career metamorphosizes into different things. Now, the one thing about Joy, when you went into a room, you'll always see her because of her colored hair. Who can guess what career I wanted to do after Form 4? It goes with the hair. Hairdressing? No. No. I was going to be a DJ. All right? I was going to be a DJ. In fact, I had a name. My name was going to be DJ Shube. Sawa? So I finished Form 4, and my mom says, hey, so have you thought about what you want to do? And I love that we're talking about careers today. I said, Ma, I want to be a DJ. Then you know my mother is from the Women Guild. She said, excuse me, you want to be what? And so she says, let me bargain with you. Why don't you go to school, get a degree, then bring me that degree, I frame it, you go do DJing. I said, bet, I'll do that. Then I said at the time, and most people assume that young people know what they want to pursue after university, correct? So I say, after Form 4. So I said, you know what, Ma, I don't know what I want to do. She says, you're good with people and you can speak. Why don't you try communication? I said, not bad. Then she says, I want you to go to the different schools and choose one for yourself. Of course, young people choose the school that is farthest from home. So which one did I go to? Daystar River. And that was in 2012. So I came to pursue my BA in communication. And I remember day one, like freshmen, you are danced for from the gate after you have eaten all the dust. Then you meet Madam Nita, who puts you in patience. Then you start school. And so it was so delightful for me because I actually finished my campus years in 3 years because of blocks, right? Sema wase wameomoka. And at the time, just like Bright, I was in Doulos, I was in DCF, I was in Shine, I was overdoing, do everything. Then I'm just about to graduate and I need an internship, right? So now, just like Bright, I walk into Standard Media Group. No one has advertised. I say, you know what, I'm here with my CV. And so I go to the reception and the lady says, can I help you? I said, I'm here to see a HR manager. First, I think she's confused. She's like, is this the daughter? Anyway, bet. Let me call for you the HR. So she comes and she says, young lady, how can I help you? I say, I'm here for an internship. She says, I did not advertise. I said, I know, but you'll find me something to do. And then she says, I like your attitude, all right? So step 1 in your career pursuit, please be aggressive. Knock on every door. You have nothing to lose and everything to win, all right? And so she says, young lady, I think God is after you because this morning at 9, it's now 12, I left a meeting and 3 internships opened up, okay? So remember I did comms, PR, and there's usually also journalism. So guys, for journalism would then be appropriate for KTN. So I say, okay, what are these internships? She says, 1, there's library. 2, there's technical. And 3, there's production. Do we have any journalism students in the house? Yeah? Oh, there you go. She would understand and she would get the joke. So library, I say, wow, Maze, these guys really study a lot. I don't want to be panga in books. That one I don't want. Then I said technical. I'm like, that sounds wire. That's not me. I don't want that one. Production was actually, in my mind, I knew it was newspaper. I said, 2 things will happen. I'll read the newspaper before everyone. And number 2, it has machines. I get to learn. I'm a curious mind. So I say, let me go with production. So she says, Sawa, that's Monday. Come for an interview on Thursday. I come for my interview. Guys, I got there, and production was TV production, okay? Remember, DJs don't watch TV. So they tell me, Joy, tell us, what are some of the shows that happened, that are aired on KTN? I said, oh my God, which is the oldest show that everyone has watched on KTN? Club Kiboko, right? That's what I went with. I said, yeah, Club Kiboko. And I think what saved me was after Form 4, I was a Sunday school teacher. So they start telling me, how would you, make our show better? Then it's easy to please kids. I said, you know what? I'll give birthday cakes. I'll do whatnot. Guys, I left there with an internship on that day, okay? Now, I was told, come for your job on Monday. So then there I am, looking all sharp. Now I have an internship. At the time we had, I forget his name, Dr. Owila. He taught communications. I think now he's since left to Aga Khan. I tell him, now I have an internship. He's like, kudos. So day 1, I meet HR, and HR said something so profound that stands with me to date. She said, we were 2 of us. She said, in another 5 years, 2 of you will have gained the same experience, but one of you would be more valuable than the other, all right? And in an instance of promotion, I'll always go for the more valuable person. Super, so that is Joy Mwangi. I came with a slide, and I'll just rush through it because we all need to go for lunch. Okay, so that is Joy Mwangi. You can see the small Joy, I'm a daddy's girl, all the way to when now I started working, and I graduated in 2015. If we go next. So you'll move with me quicker. Super. And these are some of the things I've been able to do to date. So I have been in the media space. That's where I started. I worked with KTN. Then I got into marketing. I worked with Sage. Then I got into production, and I was here working for a New York TV station that was launching in Africa as the head of production. I still went back to marketing, and I was working for a blockchain company. Then I got into the word entrepreneurship with Ad Animation. Now, Ad Animation does what? Animation. Did Joy Mwangi study animation? She did not. My career has moved from being a DJ to being a media personality to being a marketer. Now I'm in animation. I met this guy. He says, Joy, I love your vigor. I love that you love to learn. I want to start a studio, and I don't have the time. Do you mind if you take on being a CEO? At this time, I'm 26 years, please. So, by the way, on Monday, I just turned 31. So please note, I'm not as old as I look. Super. So at 26, I have this startup. I know nothing about animation. He says, let's set up a studio. So I have to do interviews for creatives. And we began the journey. Now, in 3 years' time, as we grew the startup, we actually became Africa's leading capacity building engine for animation, because in the creative, and I think Brian did mention the creative economy, where now we're focusing on guys who just do creatives. It's your graphic designer, it's your audiovisual, it's your animators. And I did that for a while before I then metamorphosized into what we're talking about today, which is Twiver. And that's my second startup. I do serve as the Chief Operating Officer and co-founder. Thank you. Yes, please, let's keep going. So, of course, I've been able to do all these amazing things, and I have to thank Daystar being my principal foundation of where I wanted to learn. My second lesson to you is, please never stop learning. I think if you look at Bright, and one thing I really celebrate about him, he puts in the work. Putting in the work is not just in experience, it's in skill. When you are valuable, means you have the knowledge, you have the skill, you can metamorphosize. You want that ticket bill where you're being paid well, it starts here. What do you have to offer? And people will throw at you money when I can't get someone like you. We keep saying one Bright is 15 people combined, right? So always pursue growth. Super. We keep going. Over the time, I've been able to get quite a number of award nominations. At the top, which was last year when I was turning 30, I was ranked 37 of top 100 most influential leaders in Africa. Now, if you ask me what phenomenal thing I did, I don't think I did much, but that is to tell you, keep growing your skill, and people will still catch on with what you're doing. Super, we keep going. Fantastic. I'm passionate about women, especially young women, and I feel, and you said it so well, career fairs, I don't think there's any fair that Daystar did at the time that I did not join, because information is valuable. When you get that information and you find something you're interested in, please pursue that person and they'll open doors for you. It could be an internship, it could be a job, even just hearing people's stories. So I think you can tell I'm a storyteller. I don't do a lot of documents, so just learn where you can, and every time you're immersed in a space, please make the most out of it. Thank you. We keep going. And yes, and every entrepreneur, every person has a tribe. I'll give you a fun fact, and I think Bright will also second that. A lot of Daystarians, by the way, when we finish school and we find each other in the job market, do you know we open doors for one another? It's so amazing how exciting we get when we see each other. You are in Daystar, me too, no way, oh my God, let me give you a job, you know, just like that. So the people you sit with in your class, please don't take it for granted. You'll come to meet them when it matters most and nurture those relationships. That's something I'm also learning. Super, we keep going. So I've been privileged to also travel to Italy to talk about what we were doing at the time, which is job creations for young people, and I'll get into the how. That was in Italy. We keep going. Super, now we get into the fun stuff. Twiva Media Group. So what do we do? Basically, we have a platform. How many of us have used Jumia? Fantastic. Jumia is an e-commerce platform, and basically it works very simply. Your charger is broken, you go on Jumia, you order, it gets to you, correct? Now 2.0 of that is what we're calling social commerce, right? Social commerce means that on our platform, we enable businesses to efficiently market and sell their product through trusted influencers or resellers, and that is who you are in the ecosystem, okay? Again, I ask a different question. How many of us have a social media page?
One more question. You touched on using influencers, and Daystar has a lot of influencers. Mbona amuulizi hizo maswali? She might decide to take you as an influencer for a brand. Yeah? Okay, yeah. Super. Thank you very much. Let us appreciate her. Thank you very much. Asante sana. Thank you very much for that amazing presentation. All right. We are due for lunch. We will be serving our lunch in a short while. But before we serve our lunch, I'd like us to be on our feet and look for a partner. Stand on your feet and look for a partner. Look for a partner. This might be your only chance of ever getting a partner, so look for a partner. Look for a partner. Look for a partner. Look for a partner. Tusimame si. One, two. All right. Everyone has a partner. Okay. I want you to look at your partner eye to eye. Look at your partner eye to eye. 180, clock 180 degrees with your partner. Clock one, is it 180 or 90, sorry, 90. Is it 90 or 180? It's actually 180. Yeah, 180. Look at them eye to eye. Look at your partner eye to eye. Okay? All right. So I'd like us to kuna watu wana partners. Who doesn't have a partner? I got you. I can be a matchmaker right away. Who doesn't have a partner? If you don't have a partner, you don't have a partner. Who else doesn't have a partner? If you don't have a partner, usikae tu peke yako surely. Okay, please come. There's a guy there who doesn't have a partner. Hey, wendo unafaa ukuje hata. Please be a gentleman and come. Yes, please come. Just come. Usiogope. Nakutafutia partner. Uko na partner? Oh, sorry. Who doesn't have a partner? Myself. Okay, come and be my partner. Let us appreciate her as she comes. Meamua mnanilazimisha changu. Ni sawa. With love. All right. So I want you to ask your partner. First of all, get to know them. Know your partner. I'll be asking questions and have giveaways. Get to know your partner. Fetch as much information as you can. Try and hack them. Dr. Bright, hello. All right. Kuna watu waangaliani. Clock 180 with your partner, get to know them. Get to know what they do. Alright. Aya, hold hapo. Hiyo ni enough bwana. Unataka kujua mpaka grandparents surely. That's enough. Before we continue, I'd like to request all our partners to come up mbele for a photo because some of them are leaving. So all our partners kindly, if you can come to the stage. Tafadhali. Stories zimeshika. Our partners are doing well. Amazing. So all the partners, tafadhali, please come to the front. Please come to the front. We want to get a photo with all of you. Na tusikae chini because we'll be continuing that conversation even as we ease our way to the lunch. Lunch is about to be served in a few minutes. So all our partners, please, kujeni mbele. Tafadhali. Tafadhali. Ni nyinyi. Kuja na partner wako. Aya, tupendane kidogo. We can do two lines, tafadhali. 2 lines. Hi, mnaweza kuja hapa mbele. Ndio. Excuse hapa hivi. Yeah, thank you.